It's the second South Texas border surge, and there are hardly any empty seats on the unmarked buses that pull into McAllen Central Station. Thousands of undocumented Central American families fleeing crime and poverty are again saturating America's immigration system. They turn themselves into authorities at the border, are processed, then released wearing an ankle monitor and the promise of returning for a court date.
What is it that brings you to the United States? ¿Qué es lo que lo trae usted y a su hijo a Estados Unidos?
La delincuencia en mi país.
Well, he says that the level of crime in his country is what brings him and his son Juan Carlos here.
Que lleguen con documentos que no son suyos.
Before heading north, Carlos Cardona and his 4-year-old son made a brief stop at a shelter that opened its doors during the immigration surge of 2014. It's run by Sister Norma Pimentel.
The violence, instead of diminishing, it's escalated, and so we have families that fear for their lives, especially other kids.
Well, volunteers have been walking these families from the bus station to the shelter and back for already 2 years now. But what's new are the numbers that we are seeing lately. And if you hear from some of the officials here in South Texas, they will also tell you that there is yet another reason why so many people are rushing to the U.S.
They all know about President Trump. They all know about a wall. When you talk to them, they know that.
Mayor Jim Darling suspects it's no longer just violence and poverty in Central America fueling this new wave.
If you talk about building a fence and we're not going to allow people in, I mean, then you better get over here now before January in the swearing-in ceremony.
Back in the shelter, these new arrivals are weighing in.
So who comes here fearing that Donald Trump planned to build a massive border wall? ¿Quién vino con el temor que Donald Trump tenía planes de construir un muro fronterizo? Wow.
Among the crowds, we found 17-year-old Didiam Fuentes and her father Nettie.
Now that you're here in the U.S., are you afraid of the idea of mass deportations?
Fuentes tells me she fears being returned to her native Honduras. On the banks of the Rio Grande, more migrants emerge out of the darkness and turn themselves into authorities. It's a seemingly endless flow of families arriving night and day.
There's a big fear in our community about what's going to happen. But ultimately, what we have to respond is to the fact that they're human beings.
Carlos Cardona and his son are starting the U.S. stretch of his journey. Like so many others who are now in their shoes, they face an uncertain future.